Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Steelers make signing, but it's not Aaron Rodgers. After all the hype surrounding their seemingly imminent signing of Aaron Rodgers, the Pittsburgh Steelers signed someone, but it wasn't the former New York Jets quarterback. On Monday, the Steelers surprised most by re-signing offensive lineman Calvin Anderson to a 2-year contract, per around the NFL. Anderson has been in the NFL since 2019, playing for the New England Patriots, New York Jets, and Denver Broncos. He was first drafted by the Patriots in 2019 before being waived that same year. In 2023, Anderson signed a 2-year contract with the Patriots. He has played in 50 career games and started in 14. The Steelers' decision to sign Anderson comes after a whirlwind of rumors surrounding the potential signing of Rodgers as the starting quarterback. Rodgers has been a free agent since last season when he left the New York Jets. Since then, the Steelers have been pressing nonstop to snatch him up. Steelers owner Art Rooney too hinted Rodgers' signing was imminent this past week. Some even claimed that the Steelers were inviting ESPN's Pat McAfee to the official signing, as Rodgers is a frequent guest on the Pat McAfee Show. Pittsburgh's decision to re-sign Anderson was to continue adding depth to their offensive tackle position, especially after Dan Moore Jr. left for free agency and Troy Fautanu suffered a season-ending injury last season. When Fautanu dislocated his kneecap, Anderson joined the Steelers to fill the void. Anderson played only 4 games before being sidelined with a groin injury. He came back for the NFL wild card game against the Baltimore Ravens. Anderson played 29 snaps in place of the injured Mason McCormick, and the Steelers lost 28-14. Despite his back-and-forth journey with injuries, Anderson does bring experience and familiarity to the Steelers organization. Conversely, Rodgers, despite his high-profile name and long-standing career, won't be as familiar under the system run by coach Mike Tomlin. The Steelers still have a chance to sign Rodgers. Out of all the teams, the Steelers are the most likely to sign the former Jets passer, with the Minnesota Vikings being the second most likely option. Although Aaron Rodgers hasn't signed with a new team yet, rumors are the Pittsburgh Steelers are firmly in the mix for the veteran quarterback. Despite not having a team to play for right now, one Green Bay Packers fan theorized a wild conspiracy in an attempt to troll Rodgers possibly signing with Pittsburgh. Cameron Ellis, a writer for Lombardi Avenue, a site powered by Fansided, fleshed out a hilarious troll conspiracy for Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers by using recent rumors and reports about former Alabama Crimson Tide quarterback Jalen Milroe. The first report confirmed that Milroe plans to attend the 2025 NFL Draft in Green Bay, according to Dane Brugler of The Athletic. Players typically choose to attend the draft when they know they'll be selected within the first 2 rounds. Source: Alabama QB Jalen Milroe has accepted an invitation to attend the 2025 NFL Draft in Green Bay. The second report Ellis uses to fuel his conspiracy stems from the news that the Alabama quarterback has met with the Steelers during the pre-draft process, per Jordan Schultz of Fox Sports. Milroe has also visited with the New Orleans Saints, Cleveland Browns, and New York Jets. Sources: Alabama QB Jalen Milroe had private workouts with the Saints and Browns that were described as impressive. He also met with key members of the Jets' offensive staff and the Steelers, prior to his pro day last month. So, at the very least, the Steelers have shown some interest in Jalen Milroe despite being heavily involved in the rumor mill for Aaron Rodgers. The 41-year-old quarterback was rumored to be upset with the Packers when they selected Jordan Love in the first round of the 2020 NFL Draft. Ellis paints the picture of the Steelers signing Aaron Rodgers ahead of the draft, then turning around and selecting Milroe with the number 21 pick overall. The fact the draft is taking place in Green Bay this year just adds a little more spice to the conspiracy. Who'd you rather have? A 41-year-old, 1-year rental option who, admittedly, has won 4 NFL MVPs? Or a young guy who is quickly becoming the sleeper QB of this year's draft? there's nothing stopping the Steelers from trying for both, I guess. Pittsburgh signing Rodgers and then drafting his replacement in Green Bay? The irony. Kaboly would anticipate Steelers signing veteran OL after compensatory pick deadline. Quarterback is currently the Pittsburgh Steelers' biggest question mark. However, it isn't the only hole in their roster. The Steelers still haven't replaced Najee Harris. They're also seriously lacking in depth along their offensive line. Last season, they got tested on that front, losing several offensive linemen for long periods of time. Steelers reporter Mark Kaboly of the Pat McAfee Show thinks Pittsburgh will address that need once it doesn't affect its compensatory picks for next year. You can't have starter-capable backups at every position, and that especially goes for the offensive line, Kaboly wrote Monday in his mailbag on Twitter. Ryan McCullum is capable, and showed that last year when Zach Frazier was injured, to play any of the three interior positions, and I know they like Dylan Cook, but we haven't seen much from him. I would anticipate them adding a veteran offensive lineman after the compensatory pick deadline comes around on April 28. But they aren't going to have quality depth at that position. It's almost impossible. That would make some sense. The Steelers are scheduled to receive several compensatory picks in the 2026 draft. They've lost a handful of players to free agency this offseason. There are still a lot of veteran offensive linemen available, and the Steelers can probably wait to pick through them. Once that deadline passes, free agents won't count against a team's compensatory picks. That will allow the Steelers to sign whoever they want while also keeping their arsenal of compensatory draft picks intact. The Steelers likely want to stockpile as many picks as they can because they could trade up for a quarterback in the 2026 draft. That could rob them of a lot of draft capital. Having more picks is almost always a good thing, giving the Steelers a little more flexibility. Looking at their current offensive line, tackle seems like the most obvious weakness. Broderick Jones and Troy Fautanu are slated to start, but the only depth behind them is Dylan Cook, a 2022 undrafted free agent with minimal experience, and Calvin Anderson, a journeyman who hasn't proved a lot in the NFL. That leaves them with little quality depth. While Kaboly is correct that the Steelers would be hard-pressed to find a depth piece that's as good as their starters, there are still more experienced players available. It might be wise to add a tackle like that, especially when looking at their starters. Jones and Fautanu have question marks. Last year, Jones looked extremely shaky. Fautanu suffered a major injury and didn't get much time on the field, so there's no telling what he'll look like in 2025. Therefore, kicking the tires on a more experienced veteran could be a good idea. Not only could a player like that be more trustworthy in a pinch, but he could also be a nice mentor for Jones and Fautanu. After the draft, it would be logical if the Steelers shore up their trenches. They got a first-hand look last year at how important that can be. Ignoring it could be a mistake. Recently released cornerback could end up with Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers have addressed their need at cornerback this offseason pretty head-on. They signed former All-Pro and Super Bowl champion Darius Slay from the Philadelphia Eagles as well as former New York Jets cornerback Brandon Echols. This came after not pursuing Dante Jackson in free agency, as he left for the Los Angeles Chargers. The Steelers could be the team that brings in a recently released cornerback, though, to continue adding to their room. The Las Vegas Raiders released cornerback Jack Jones, who started 16 games for Las Vegas a season ago after not being able to find a trade partner. Because the Steelers' new secondary coach Gerald Alexander was with the Raiders a season ago, there are obvious connective tissues between the free agent and the Steelers. Jones was drafted by the New England Patriots in the 4th round of the 2022 NFL Draft. He was released in 2023 before getting picked up by the Raiders and performing well, returning 2 interceptions for touchdowns. Adding him to the room doesn't have any horrible outcomes on the surface, so don't be shocked if we see some murmurs about the Steelers being interested. And you, fan? What do you think about Jack Jones' situation? Write to us in the comments.